So, you just got your first guitar. Congratulations. You made it over the hurdle with your big ticket purchase. But now, as you consider your learning and playing strategies, you realize that you actually need more stuff. And I'm including 3 classifications of stuff you'll need: necessities, accessories, and consumables. Now, for this episode, I'm not going to address amps and picks simply because both topics are too broad and each warrants an episode of its own. So for this episode, let's discuss just the necessities. Now, as a rule, I'd say don't skimp on your case. Buy the best you can afford. Now, this is a heavy-duty case that I keep my handmade Raponi classical guitar in. And this case came with a guitar, but if I bought it separately, it would run in the $150 to $200 range. Maybe more. Now, do you need to spend that kind of money on a case? Simply no. But when choosing a case, it helps to consider where you'll be taking the guitar and how you'll be taking it before shelling out your hard-earned cash for a case. In our shop, we sell hardshell cases starting at about $80 and going up. Remember, if you'll be putting your guitar in the back of an equipment truck to get to the gig, or if you're taking your guitar with you on an airplane, you probably need a good hardshell case. In fact, you can buy dedicated heavy-duty road cases for the back of a van, or you can buy TSA-rated hardshell cases which are recommended for air travel. Keep in mind, some of these cases can be prohibitively expensive. Now, if you're living on campus and all you have to do is walk across the quad to the music building for your weekly guitar lesson or your guitar ensemble, consider a good quality soft gig bag. Most gig bags have thick foam padding, plenty of pockets, and backpack straps, which let you throw your guitar over your shoulder along with your book bag, which keeps your hands free to carry your coffee with one hand and to check your email with the other. You can usually find a decent gig bag for about $35. This one's a Kahaya, and it's pretty spiffy. I bought it on Amazon for $35. Keep in mind though, a really nice one can cost anywhere from $50 to $100, $125, $150. So here's one more thing to consider about cases. A good compromise for both portability and security would be a Featherlight case. You can think of it as either a hard gig bag or a soft case. And they usually include straps or a strap, which will allow you to throw it over your shoulder. Now, again, keep in mind that some of these cases can also get expensive. Now, that being said, I really like Featherlights. This one's a Gator that I bought used from a guy for $15 about 10, 12, 13 years ago. And I've done over 1,000 gigs with this case, and it's actually still going strong. Now, it is getting a little beat up, so I am going to have to replace it soon, though. Now, concerning straps, buy the best you can afford. Remember, you rely on your strap to keep your guitar from crashing to the floor. And even if you usually play sitting down, at some point you'll find yourself in a position which requires you to play standing up. So be prepared to spend $15 to $30 on a strap that both feels and looks good. Now, there actually are some decent $7 straps out there, but now's the time to splurge a little. You don't have to buy a $75 3-inch split leather or a 2.5-inch glove leather strap. In fact, a 2-inch woven cotton or jacquard strap with leather tabs for $20 to $25 will last you for years. If you have an electric guitar, you have to have cords. It's that simple. Don't buy that $3 10-foot cord on Amazon and expect to get anything more than a few weeks faithful service from it. In fact, it's likely you may only get a couple of days or a couple of hours. Be aware though that the opposite applies as well. It's not necessary to go out and spend $40 on a 10-foot cord. For a 20-foot cord, a good rule of thumb seems to be roughly about $1 a foot. Shorter cord lengths will generally be a little more expensive, say 15 bucks for a or for a 10-foot cord and $18 for a 15-foot cord. Personally, I like gig lines from Quantum Audio. Be aware that most companies make a variety of cords featuring different connector ends. 2 straight, such as this one, 1 straight and 1 right angle, and some of them with 2 right angle connectors. Now make sure you consider the input jacks on your effects, amp, and guitar when buying a cord. And here's a hint: right angle connectors don't plug into Strats very efficiently, but if you have a pedal board or a Les Paul or a Tele or a Strat button jack on your acoustic, right angled cords are a must. Strings are technically a consumable, but because it's exceedingly difficult to play an unstrung guitar, I'm inclined to think of strings as a necessity. Please make sure that you buy good strings. And any of the companies that you see advertising in the guitar magazines or in the mail order catalogs offer quality products. So, if you've heard of the company, you can buy with confidence. Now, personally, I'm a fan of D'Addario for all of my acoustics and archtops, and I generally like Everly B52s for solid body electrics. Now, when buying strings, remember, there are a few things to be aware of. For steel string acoustics, there are generally 2 flavors. There is 80/20 bronze and phosphor bronze. Now, 80/20s are usually bright and penetrating, and phosphors are generally warm and mellow. So if your guitar sounds a bit harsh, try some phosphor bronze to tamp down that astringent tone a little bit. If your guitar is muffled and lethargic sounding, try a set of 80/20s to liven it up. And here's a little bonus advice, especially for electric players who have just taken up the acoustic. And I only offer this advice up because I've dealt with this for years selling strings in a music store. Are you ready? To my knowledge, no guitar company makes an acoustic 9 set. Also, if you play 10s on your electric, it doesn't mean you should play 10s on your acoustic. Generally, I advise my students to play 2 gauges higher than their preferred electric gauge, and never go smaller than 11s or larger than 13s. 10s have a tendency to buzz, and they generally won't move the soundboard efficiently enough to let the guitar speak well. On the other hand, 14s are hard to wrangle, and generally they sound stiff and a little bit lacking in dynamics. Also, keep in mind that most acoustics come from the factory strung and set up for 12s. Ultimately, you can never go wrong with a set of 12s. Now, for electric guitars, start off with pure nickel or nickel wrapped. They sound warm and fat, and they'll be kinder to your frets than stainless steel. And I usually like 9-46 for trim bridges and 10-52 for hardtails. So here's a few final thoughts on strings. Number 1, coated or non-coated? Well, personally, my vote is for non-coated. The coating weighs the string down a bit and it restricts its ability to vibrate, and quite simply, they just always sounded dead and muted to me compared to a set of uncoated strings which can ring freely and efficiently. The coating may extend string life a little bit, but I've never felt that the incumbent loss of tone is worth the extra playing time. 2, don't forget to pick up a string winder. A good manual winder will cost you a few bucks. I like the Dunlop winders the best. And you can also buy drill bit winders, which are great for quickly changing a full set of strings. Oh, and don't forget a pair of snips, $4 at Harbor Freight. Number 3, classical strings are a whole other topic, and I'll deal with those in a later video, which will deal with changing classical strings. Make sure you have a tuner. It doesn't matter if it's a clip-on tuner, a handheld, or an app on your phone. Just have one. Personally, I'm a fan of the TC Electronics Polytune, and I also like the Swift A2 for clip-ons. I really like the Polytune because you can strike all the strings at once open, and it'll tell you which strings are in and out of tune just at a glance. Now, the Polytune's expensive, about 50 to 75 bucks, but it's well worth it. Because it's also a strobe tuner, which is perfectly serviceable for field intonating your guitar. And the Swift A2 It sells at our shop for 10 bucks and it is a fantastic little tuner. Now, as far as a tuner app, I like the Peterson iStrobosoft. It's an honest to God strobe tuner on your phone for $5. You can find it on the Apple App Store, and I believe it's also available on the Android store. Now, before I wrap things up, I want to be absolutely clear that I've received no compensation or considerations from any of the brands I may have mentioned today. These are products and brands that I choose to buy. Now, in the next guitar products video, we'll discuss accessories, stands, slides, capos, metronomes, so forth. Things which aren't required to play guitar, but which can personalize and enhance your guitar playing skills and experience. Remember, like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the channel's content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an episode, and please feel free to add comments and offer some suggestions for any topics you might like to see in some future videos. My name's Dave Holland. Thanks for watching String 'em Up, and I'll see you next time.